Good morning. This is a quick tutorial on how to document a pre-anesthesia evaluation in CIS. When you first open up CIS, you'll most likely come to your provider home screen, which will have a list of patients based on patient location for that day. It's for the same for today. Um, to look up patients for tomorrow, or any day for that matter, in the past, present, or future, based on OR scheduling, we highly recommend using case selection to find patients. And the reason why is while one can search and find patients using the generic search over here, entering a patient's medical record number or their name, the chances of documenting on the wrong encounter are very good because the default encounter that is selected when you enter a patient's name or medical record number, the odds are very good that it won't be the surgical encounter. So for that reason, we recommend using case selection because what this does is it opens up the surgical scheduling application to find patients through that means. So again, use case selection to find your patients when you want to document pre-anesthesia evaluation notes. And the way this works is you are basically going to use three areas of this page. The first one is to search by location. And let's say that I am slated to work in OR number 1 in the main OR on June 30th, 2015. So I would come up to the location, select main OR, click OK, then make sure that my dates are put on June 30th, and then click retrieve, and it will bring all the patients up in the main OR on the 30th of June. At this point, I want to sort by OR. Just click on the field OR, and it will sort by OR. So all the patients in OR 1 are now listed here for me. You can see I have 3 patients listed in OR 1, and they're ranked in order of surgical start time. So let's say I've already documented on the first patient. I want to document now on the second patient. I double click anywhere on that line and it will bring me to that patient's encounter. These are all the various M pages. Patient summary page is the M page at the top that has generic information about the patient. The perioperative summary M page is what we'll be using to do our safety sign-ins. There's a pre-op summary here that has all kinds of information about the patient that we'll be using when we check the patients in prior to going to the operating room. And then there's another tab called post-op summary that you'll be using for handoff in the PACU. It has all this information on the right-hand side. It will get filled in when you're completing your electronic anesthesia record. It will bring in all the anesthesia medications that you administered, all the fluids, the endotracheal intubation information, if applicable, the size and location of IVs, all your volume totals, and then any documents associated with that encounter. So it's a very powerful page to use when giving handoff in the PACU or the ICU. Getting back to documenting notes though, to create a pre-anesthesia evaluation note or a post-anesthesia evaluation note, you'll come down to the Manage Notes section, click Add, and then select your pre-anesthesia evaluation note from your favorites. If you don't have it, you may have to go to Catalog, select the perioperative note category, and then move post anesthesia evaluation notes into your favorites category. So I've already added those into my favorites category. I'm going to double click on pre-anesthesia evaluation note, and you'll see that it's now thinking. And what it's doing is it's looking into itself to see if there's information that can populate into the note because there's information already stored about the patient. So, and it's very important to start documenting from this window and not just have everything pre-checked and move on. And the reason why is because if it's checked and there's a null value, it'll put a null value into the note and it'll satisfy any required elements of the note, which is not optimal. So go through and look and uncheck anything that has blank information or information that doesn't look like it would be helpful. So when you see no results found, I would uncheck it. There's a dose calc weight or patient weight and height in here, so I'm going to go ahead and check that. This is allergy information. I'm going to leave that unchecked because there's no problems recorded. All this is blank, so I'm leaving that all unchecked so that in future editions of this same note, we'll be able to pull information into the note, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So we're going to click OK now, and now we can start documenting the note. And the way the note is intended to be documented is by using this navigation pane over here, not on this side. You'll start on this side, so click on a paragraph. Each of these lines here are called paragraphs, and it corresponds to a paragraph over on this side. So this is the general information paragraph. Anything that's highlighted in yellow or has a red asterisk means that it's required information before the note can be signed, which is different from being saved, and I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So in this general information window, you can see that it's unhappy right now because the MPO status hasn't been filled out. Well, because it's the day before the procedure, of course, there's not going to be MPO status information. So I'm going to just move on. Go to the next paragraph, which is medical history. And from the record, I know that this patient is a healthy patient. Okay, so I would just click healthy and then move on to the next paragraph. If, on the other hand, there was a medical problem, I would then select unremarkable except for the problems listed above, which is there's a problem summary list above or below. And then it opens up a medical or a systems-based approach to medical problems that the patient may have. So let's say this patient had some asthma. I would click on asthma, and then I can even comment on it by right-clicking and saying that this patient has very mild asthma and that has not used any steroids. Okay, and you can see how this then renders. Moving on to the next paragraph. This is the other history section. Has the patient had any procedures done before? Note that we have something called a smart template. If you click on this, it's also part of that opening screen. If the patient has had any procedures here at Seattle Children's, it will populate in there all the procedures that the patient has had. This patient, hypothetically speaking, has had none, so we're going to click none, and that the patient has not had any anesthesia before, and that there are no prior complications in family members as it pertains to anesthesia care. And then the next required section is the attending anesthesiologist physical exam. If you are a fellow resident or CRNA, you will not be putting any information in this section whatsoever. It's not yours to document. You have your own section, and that's the section above. So if I click on that section, it's the fellow resident or CRNA physical exam. This is where you would document your physical examination. And then lastly, assessment and plan. It's down at the bottom here. This patient is an ASA1 undergoing a general anesthetic. We are going to give an oral midazolam pre-med. We will do an inhalation induction. Oh, by the way, we're going to bring mom back, so we'll click on parental presence up here. And then we'll maintain the patient on inhalational and intravenous agents. We have no anesthesia concerns, and then lastly, we have explained the risks and options of anesthesia care to a legal representative who agrees with the plan. So at this point, then, we can save the encounter. If you plan to come back and edit the note, this is what you will do: save or save and close. Now, by definition, residents, fellows, and CRNAs can only save or save and close this note because they cannot fill in the attending anesthesiologist physical exam. And as I've mentioned before, anything that's in yellow or has an asterisk by it is required before one can sign submit. So if I click on this right now, it's going to be unhappy. It's going to say all required fields must be documented. So that's the reason why residents, fellows, and CRNAs can only save or save and close pre-anesthesia evaluation notes. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. It'll say this is what the title of the note is. We click OK, and then I'm going to refresh this, and then you'll see that the note is now in progress. Now, flash forward to the next day. It's the day of surgery. We come back in, we open this patient up, we double click on this encounter, and it's going to open the note back up. And in order to bring in new information like the MPO times and the vitals that have been created, we go up to that edit, drop down to auto populate, and then this auto populate document window opens up. Any new information that comes in here, we would then check the box appropriate and then click OK. That information would then populate the note. And then if the attending has signed in, he or she can submit the note, and the note will be complete. If you have any questions or concerns about pre-anesthesia evaluation notes, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.